First, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, my company makes a deployable mobile generator that runs on alternative energy. It runs on solar, wind, microhydro. It can be charged with the generator or grid, and it can be used out there to power entire households. They can even share these to use for refrigeration, making ice, that kind of thing. And at the end of this video, we're going to show you how to actually get these down there to them. We're going to do some crowdfunding for people that we know do not qualify for financing on these. So it's going to be going to a good cause. But right now, I want to address the bigger picture, which has actually nothing to do with the ready-to-goes. And so let's just take care of that first. In the interest of time, I'm just going to talk about all the different technologies that are available that can help the people of Puna. But come back later and take a look, and we'll be posting down below links to all the different things that we talk about, all the different technologies, so that you have a reference. But in the interest of time, we're going to be just talking about it first. Come back and check with us later. Uamau, Keoki'aina, Ikapono, o Hawaii. Anybody that's lived in Hawaii long enough knows that motto. It's the Hawaii state motto, and it translates to, the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. Righteousness of the people. And so what's happening right now, you're hearing people talk about Madame Pele is speaking, acts of God. The lava is flowing, whether you want to call it something mystical or proverbial or even philosophical. No matter what, light is being shed to the Big Island right now. And so it's time to expose a few things so that we can continue on to the solution of how to help the people of Puna. And actually, the solution can help people everywhere. So the first thing we're going to talk about is OTEC. Okay, OTEC stands for Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion, and it works by converting cold water to hot water. It works really good in the tropics. We know that it works because in 1970 the Tokyo Electric Power Company created and deployed a 100 kilowatt closed cycle OTEC plant on the island of Nauru, and the plant became operational on, the 14th of October 1981, and it produced 120 kilowatts of electricity. 90 kilowatts was used to power the plant, and the remaining electricity was used to power a school and other places. So we know that this works because they've been using it in Japan. In fact, they just built another one in Okinawa. And we also know that it works because we had one right here on the Big Island. Okay, as early as 1972, our forefathers had the foresight here in Hawaii to act in the legislature by, 1974, that they create an OTEC facility to experiment with this new type of technology. And they did that right here in Kailua Kona, and we know that it worked. So if you read what Wikipedia says about OTEC, it says that the U.S. Navy, Mackay Ocean Engineering, Dillingham Construction, and other firms built the world's first only net power producing OTEC plant, dubbed Mini OTEC. And according to the Wikipedia article, it says it ran for 3 months in 1979. A small amount of energy was generated. Okay, I'm going to take a break now before I go on. If you want a short-term solution, what I'm talking about now is long-term solutions that are very viable. But if you want a short-term solution, what I recommend you do is go to the video I posted called Saving Puna FAQ. It's an addendum to Saving Puna Part 1. And it has some real quick and easy short-term solutions that you can get involved with and help out right now. Because the rest of what I'm going to talk about, as I say in modern times, is complicated and in some ways a little bit nefarious, but it's part of the problem that we need to look at so that we can have a solution for the folks out there in Puna. And so here's the rest of the OTEC story. You're still here. Okay, I warned you. In 1998, I was invited by the University of Hawaii Manoa School of Architecture and DBED, that's Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism Energy Division, to help facilitate a training, largely to create this book. Inevitably, that's what happened. The training was to train contractors and architects throughout the state to teach them about sustainable practices that were available in the late 90s. I was asked to do this. I was partnered with Virginia McDonald, who is an award-winning architect here from the Big Island. She won awards in her sustainability on passive cooling, of all things. And one of the trainings that we did here on the Big Island was at the OTEC facility. OTEC is now called NELHA. That's a Natural Energy Lab of Hawaii, but back then it was just referred to as the OTEC lab. And in 1998, when we had our training there, we were told by the manager of the facility that they never did shut off that system. In fact, it had been running and producing power up to that time. And so this is a full 20 years later, 20 years after the purported 3-month experiment that they did in 1979, that the power was still running from the OTEC facility. And it was running lights. They used the cold water to run air conditioning, but it was still producing power at that time. Recently, I went down to the OTEC facility at NELHA to see if it's still producing power, and I was told I'd be very disappointed in the news. I was told that by one of the state employees at the time that was working there, because what they've done is they've shut down the system. I don't know at what point they did that, and now they're buying their power from a new generator, the Kaleo generator that was built just about 1.5 miles down the road by the utility, specifically for the NELHA property. And so, let's get this right. We had free power that we know ran for 20 years on this island that the world does not know about, that was shut down so that they could buy power from the utility that runs the facility now using fossil fuels. You know, we will always have tsunamis, we will always have hurricanes, there's always going to be natural disasters, but there's no reason that we ever need to have another Fukushima, another Chernobyl, another 3-mile island. There's just absolutely no reason for that, because we could have had, and we can have, free power, and it works right here in Hawaii. They could do this in Puna. And this is not some giant facility, and in fact the picture I showed earlier makes it look like something big. This is a small project. This is a very feasible project that's been kept away from the public for whatever reason. So this is one option that can be done to help the people of Puna. Another option is geothermal. That's another problem altogether, and we'll get into that now. What about geothermal? Hey, lava, volcanic activity, geothermal, just makes sense, right? Well, there actually is a geothermal plant out there in the area that's going to be cut off. In fact, they're going to be separated from the rest of the island. The question is, if they have it working, are they going to still facilitate those people out there? I would hope so. But the problem is, I never know what's happening with that plant. Every headline I read says that it's been shut down. There's people protesting against it. I know it almost blew up once. They've had to evacuate several of those subdivisions we're talking about because something was spewing into the atmosphere that made them evacuate all the residents. So I was actually asked recently to give a quote to some people that helped shut it down. They were asking me to give a quote to install an AC coupler into their net metered system. If you don't know what a net metered system is versus an off-grid or grid support system, then you need to write me or call us or email us, and we'll explain all that to you. If you have a net metered system, like some of the people do that are out there, and it's attached to the utility, you cannot use that when the power gets cut off. So you could have all the solar panels on your roof that you think you might need, but if the power gets cut off, you can't use it. So, geothermal, big question. Okay, sorry, I got a little worked up there. You know, all of these problems can be solved, but when you don't have people taking a good hard look at it, then it can easily be just overseen. And now that the people of Puna could use the help, this is the time to correct some of these wrongs. And so once again, these are some long-term solutions that can be fixed, that can be utilized, not just in Puna. Some of this can be used around the world to help the energy problem, and it's something we need to really be looking at around the world. So yeah, the lava is shining light on this little section of our big island, and the people and the residents there that need the help. So one last thing is transportation, and some of you who have talked about that have emailed me have said, boy, it would make a lot of sense to have a ferry over there. Well, here we go. Here's another story. Okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but yes, we had a super ferry. A company out of Australia had spent lots of money to try and set one up here on that big island, actually between all the islands. And in another example of corporate greed and working with the government, they did the classic yes means no, where they gave them approvals, and then as soon as they were ready to run, they shut them down. So at this point, I think we should be looking very seriously into trying to get those ferries back, or any ferries back, to the big island, to all the islands, but especially for the people in Puna. So in case you haven't guessed, the solution is in every one of the problems I just mentioned. We just have to get away from the bottom line, the almighty dollar, as being how we decide to help people. The good news is Puna, they just went through the tropical storm. They have proven how they can work together and help each other out. The people of the Big Island have rallied to help each other in times of need like this. And so even the utility workers, my hats are off to those guys, because they've got power back in record time. So the solution is in the problem. We just need to cut away all the greed and get back to what the main focus should always be on, is helping each other out. So like I said, I didn't want this to be a commercial for my business. What we are trying to do is get single solar power systems to the people out there. If you want to help with that, go ahead and contact us. Here's my number below, and my information. We'll also have it at the end and in the information on the YouTube area down below. Okay, so the next video will be crowdfunding to help the folks in Puna. Thank you. Now let's talk about solar.